job.
Well, maybe he was too busy doing his job somewhere else. That might have been it. Sorry, Valdez. I'm sure you're in the chat, right? You're in the chat, hanging out with all of us while we are enjoying some KT versus Bro. That's what I would assume. As let's get into the draft here for game number 2. KT, very good at winning game number 1s where they pick up Nocturne and Rise. Not going to be able to do that again, and let's see what they are going to put together for themselves as HANJIN BRION find themselves in possession of first pick this time.
Yeah, it was KT with that last time. And I think, honestly, HANJIN BRION's bans were pretty limited as a result. You know, they banned Cassiopeia, Orianna, and Vi, which are just like the most standard bans that we have right now, whereas a bit more flexibility offered to KT when they had the first pick position. I'm kind of seeing the reverse of that now. A lot of homework have to be done by second pick, and this is not something unique to this meta. We've seen that a lot in the LCK.
Oh, yeah. Haven't seen Valdez, though, in chat, so that's a bit of a shame. But maybe I missed it. You never know. Cassio, let's see whether the Orianna will be banned next. I assume Cassio, Ori, Vi will be our blue side bans or our second pick bans that are going to be coming on in here as the Ezreal is going to be taken away one more time. Ezreal, Lee Sin, and Syndra were banned by KT when they had first pick. Similar look here, but the Pantheon has already taken the place of one of those as Caitlyn will be taken away now.
Yeah, hammer away at some of the options there for Teddy. We've seen a lot of priority on these bot lane pairings, Lucian Milio, Caitlyn Bard, Ezreal Karma, and I think denying access to them is pretty big. The thing that was interesting to me is the Ezreal ban from Bro. I feel like they maybe could have prioritized that as a first pick for Teddy. We've seen it having a lot of priority recently, so definitely an interesting one. Vi and Orianna still open and available.
Yeah.
And they're going to ban Galio instead here. We've seen Galio generally be successful, but also have a lot of priority into Lock specifically.
Okay, let's see where Roma wants to go with this.
I think it's necessarily going to be a first pick Lock, but maybe setting up for that. We know the build with the MI and Minter Mandate, very strong. But with Orianna being banned by KT, Vi is just pretty obvious here.
Yep. Pretty comfortable first pick here for the Bros, as Yunara Lulu likely to be the answer here for Jiwoo and Effort.
Big confidence pickup here, and specifically into Vi, this is a pick that we often saw banned away when you wanted to prioritize Yunara because it does a good job of holding her accountable. So we'll see what HANJIN BRION want to combo with this. Rumble Ahri. This is a trio that we've seen be more popular, a bit more popular recently in the LCK, but also very popular in the LPL as like Vi, Rumble, Ahri. So if they want to go for that, I think it makes complete sense in terms of shutting down a hyper carry. We'll see if we get the Ahri coming in here from Roma.
Yeah, could certainly do that. Syndra also works in a very similar way, except you have a little bit less mobility. But I do like the keep away that you can play there as well. Instead, he is going to be heading your direction, so that Ahri will be locked in.
Now the question is, what are you going to pick here from KT?
Naafiri.
That is definitely an option you can go for, but maybe if you want to match mid now,
yeah, could be
take the opportunity to do so. You know, the Syndra was hovered. There's also things like the Aurora. Annie is an option too. And we'll see what they go for, but it is just going to be that Naafiri you mentioned, one in the matchup for Cuzz. Originally a counter to Vi. We saw Naafiri coming in the meta in that way.
Yep.
And then now it's just picked generally, but still has that good matchup, being able to dodge away from so much of what GIDEON wants to do. And now the bans come in, so
double bot lane bans under Teddy and Namgung is a little bit scary here, I think, if you are a Bro fan. They have locked down a very strong top side of the map, but someone has to pay the price. So Teddy's very powerful Corki is going to be taken away. I think he's still undefeated on this, like 6-0 so far this season, which is kind of unheard of. But K'Sante going to be taken away here as they can protect this Rumble pick towards the top side.
I feel like Kai'Sa could go well with this Bro composition. I feel like we've seen, you know, Teddy Xayah be fantastic. Seraphine might be a bit risky with Naafiri about, and you don't know the soul laners, but I think there's just a lot of options still for Teddy and Namgung. I don't think they have to be too worried, and they will take away Teddy's Xayah. This feels like there are so many options for the bot lane that, like, let's specifically target Teddy's top picks right now, which I feel like are that Corki and Xayah taking off the cards. But still a lot of options available for him.
Yeah, Kalista Renata is still up as well. We've seen that combo find a bit of success here as the Lissandra will
I think that's a good ban, actually. You know, a good matchup into Ahri. And something with the Mandate Rush, the 2-item spike is so quick and so powerful.
Ornn. All right. Bit of a classic. And will give this KT composition so much longevity. Playing for the late game looks to be the aim of the game here for the roller coasters, as there is that Kalista that I was talking about before. Likely to just be slammed here, as Kalista Renata would give them a lot of power where they want it, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, if they're not able to win the game, then it's likely that KT will be able to find a lot of options, but there is that Renata lock-in. Namgung just teasing us with a potential Camille that they do decide to head over towards the Renata afterwards. And so now, what is BDD going to be playing, and how can they sort of bridge this composition into a late game? And the Syndra might be able to do that.
I think Syndra makes sense. BDD is phenomenal on this pick. It makes Teddy's life really difficult, especially like you may think, oh, well, he can be bailout. You can use the bailout on him. But if you get Scatter the Week into ulted, you're not going to have any opportunity to really get a reset. I think KT have a lot of tools to make Teddy's life difficult and a lot of scaling elements in the composition. The Ornn makes sense as well as a momentum killer. This composition for HANJIN BRION is all about momentum. A lot of these picks, quite feast or famine. You want to crush the bot lane 2v2. In a fight, you want that initial momentum where you can get the resets from the Ahri and just push forward in the fight. I think it's a good comp from HANJIN BRION, but we saw last game, even though they made some good decisions, the team fighting just wasn't quite there. And it was because Teddy was on a short-range pick, and there were a lot of challenges for it, which I think is still true here. But at least there's, I feel like, more offered by his teammates with the Ahri and the Rumble here.
Not to mention, I think Romer is going to be punished less for his teamfight positioning on the Ahri. You can sort of just skirt around, try and get yourself those resets, and get yourself into the game. So I think that this composition looks pretty robust for the bros, but I love it when teams pick comps that have very different win conditions and win windows here in this game, right? KT want to be playing for that late game, front-to-back team fights, utilizing their very strong front line in the Ornn and the Lulu there with that wild growth in order to create havoc in these team fights. Polymorph can be very, very dangerous as well. Meanwhile, this comp from the bros just does so much damage in the mid-game, it might be just too much for KT to deal with. Let's get into it. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, under the rift for game number 2. Seeing whether the bros can even out the series, whether KT are going to find a win, as the bros do not find the Ornn. He decides to go back home. Perfect is going to be meandering up towards that top lane, try and catch up to these minions. It's casting already there. Deciding to make a bit of money off this Ornn here in the laning phase. That first strike.
I think for me, this has been the best strategy for Rumble, is the first strike into the tanks, and you just generate a ton of gold, you're ahead of the curve, you can get your high-value items. We've also seen the Deathfire touch, and it's just, I think a lot of times just you don't get enough pressure for it to be really worth it.
Yeah, I would agree. Just find yourself a few extra items and get the extra power that way. Might be the way to make it work. As Jiwoo and Effort able to step up in this lane. I feel like Yunara really has just been laning better here in the LCK more recently.
Honestly, there were some moments as well, even early when Yunara came out, that teams disrespected her and ended up paying for it. It's so much about that passive, having that stacked up, having wave access. So now they've got control, and Jiwoo keeps the passive stacked up. It's actually really hard, especially with a Lulu as well. Renata is so often that auto-attack trader who has the passive. You both auto someone, there's a burst of damage. Lulu doesn't even need that. She just autos you and throws a glitter lance, and she's going to bully you out the lane.
Well, that's exactly what's happening right now. See already Teddy and Namgung on the back foot, well and truly.
I think, honestly, if they shove this wave in, they could go for a reset, maybe Jiwoo buy a cull, and feel really good about the position of the wave.
It is looking likely at this point in the game, as Roma taking a lot of damage. Great Charm is going to connect onto BDD, who does take a turret shot. It's going to somewhat even out this trade, but Roma is well and truly taking the pressure here in this lane.
Tough going up against BDD on this Syndra. He's so good on this pick. And you can often just bully out the Ahri if you're connecting all the skill shots.
And casting hanging out here towards this top side, just dealing with Perfect, who has pushed this lane in so far.
I think KT pretty happy with how things are playing out in these early levels.
See a few first picks here, as Teddy and Namgung haven't actually played this combo just yet in the LCK. Of course, If you've been a Teddy fan for a while, you know that he is well-versed on the Kalista. But you really do need to see whether he's found some positive performances more recently. I can say that his last solo queue game was on Kalista, and he lost.
Oh.
So there's that.
Well, hoping to redeem himself.
Yeah. You know, never end the night on a loss. So maybe this counts as last night, which is, I think, when his last solo queue game was on that particular account. As we don't necessarily know how many accounts these guys are playing on. That is just the only known one that I have access to.
Good trades again from KT. And I feel like Teddy and Namgung really want to push this wave and get a restart off themselves. They're just kind of being pressured out. Effort with the glitter lances, just making Teddy really pay for this.
Yeah, this is getting real difficult as Teddy is just going to leave. Going to make his way back in again. A little bit more power, might be able to find himself some shoes or something like that, but I don't think the Berserkers are coming in just yet. It's a little bit too early for that one.
So the important thing for KT is that you just be really cautious about investing into skirmishes in the bot side, specifically because that's really where Cluster Renata shines. Yes, the laning is very strong. Yes, you can bully out a lane. That's not obviously happening so far this game, but if you get into a fight in the jungle, so easily you could see Bro just taking over the game from there. So your lanes are doing well. Isn't any huge pressure on KT to speed things up.
Yep. Just cool, calm, and collected is going to be the aim of the game. And sometimes that has been where KT have struggled, which is saying no to the voices. So far, definitely so good, though, here in this series, as VDD sets up that scatter to deny the back from Roma. Looks like he's just going to be able to take this wave and look to head on home. Still taking so much damage here. Good charm. Actually manages to get the CS, and I think that Roma is just going to try and channel that back once again, and as we can see here, he does.
So, do get the pickaxe picked up by Teddy. Not going for the early boots that we often see.
Yeah, it's just probably the amount of money that he had. And does feel a little bit better to have that bit of extra AD, as Jiwoo taking some damage here. Finally, Bro finding themselves some okay trades here in this lane. As Equalizer just going to wipe out the wave, give casting that very comfortable reset.
It's definitely been a slower jungle series so far. GIDEON Cuzz kind of just prioritizing farm in the early levels, not actively looking for too much. Obviously, game one, there was a Nocturne. There's a Jarvan on the other side, and here as well. I think it makes sense for KT to slow the pace of the game down, and we all know Bro and Brew is a classic.
Oh, Cuzz going to be taking a bit of damage here, but no Vault Breaker to connect. GIDEON is going to get poisoned. Looks like he will be able to get control of this Rift Scuttler, though.
I think it's just so hard to really hold an Naafiri accountable. The leap is so large, so much terrain that you can get over. Bro, though, almost kind of asking KT to challenge them. Big thing is because GIDEON picked up the Scuttle, he's now hit level 6, has that ult available. Cuzz is not there.
Yeah.
Does match the upgraded Smite, importantly, though. He can try and go for a steal here.
Not going to be able to get there.
Good moves from Bro. And I think they had the confidence to go for the Dragon, and they would have been ready to take a fight. As I said, Cluster Renata super good in their skirmishes. The fact that GIDEON got the level 6 first, everything was stacked in Bro's favor. So I think the right read from KT to kind of just maybe fish for a steal, but not really commit to anything.
Not doing it just yet, as we have a slight gold lead for Jiwoo, but that is just because he picked up a cult. And that is giving him a bit of extra money, as Perfect taking a lot here from casting, who just silences himself and goes to town on this Ornn. Very nicely done so far from this Rumble player. And moves up to about a 300 gold lead. The only lead for the Bros on the map, but it has been able to equalize the gold between the two teams quite comfortably, as we can see here. I do feel a little bit worried, though. If the game is just this even and this comfortable, then KT are just going to be very, very happy, scaling on up over and over again. And the Bros, they're the ones that are going to have to put their feet on the accelerator a little bit earlier. I will say, maybe I'm getting nervous because it's just not quite at that time yet. And I shouldn't be nervous.
I think it's okay. I think Bro have a lot of team fighting power, so as long as they're not behind, I think it's still fine when we get to those bigger team fights. And I think a big thing is because they got the early Dragon very early, it puts pressure on KT. If the Soul definitely is an impactful one, it'll force KT to fight sooner rather than later for that third Dragon. We got a swap coming in from KT. Last game it was Teddy who made the swap to kind of great effect. It'll just be Jiwoo picking up some farm here. I think that's one thing with the role quests, is that obviously swapping like this is going to take a dent on the bot lane role quest, but you don't actually get that much gold extra from minions, so if you're a little late on it, it's not a huge deal. The main thing is that you don't have access to that big chunk of gold you get immediately, but as long as you don't fight when Teddy has that gold and complete an item, it's not too much of an issue. So I think making this swap here, getting some pressure down in the top lane, does allow Bro here to get some damage in the towers, but it's 3 grubs for Cuzz. GIDEON,
Again.
0 grubs in this series.
At least the Bros managed to take the first dragon this time, so they equalized the neutral objectives. But like you were saying, GIDEON very upset about that. He's GIDEON grubs for a reason. Still, 2 plates do go over to the Bros here towards his bottom side, and that has largely equalized the gold advantage that Jiwoo had picked up earlier on. This huge stack of minions. They might even be able to get to a third one, but not going to happen. And Jiwoo is able to pick up a lot of these. We'll be able to reclaim that CS lead. As Namgung going to get discovered here by Jiwoo. Throws a Slurkle in just to make sure that he knows what's going on.
Both junglers around the bot side of the map if anything's going to break out, but definitely a different vibe than last game, where there was a Nocturne who's a constant looming threat. Roma is, would you believe, roaming.
Oh.
Has found Cuzz though, and probably does not want to tango with the Naafiri.
And we've got another room as well, as there's a great knock-up onto Casting. The Ram comes down, grabs the knock-up onto the Rumble again, as now Casting realizes that he's very, very dead. First blood goes over to BDD, and he's going to immediately teleport back to this mid lane to pick up the wave.
Crazy, BDD is laning against a guy called Roma, and he has been the one making the moves in the laning phase both games so far, making a massive impact in the side lanes.
And I think I would say that it's more difficult to roam on a Syndra than it is on the Ahri.
Absolutely. You know, post 6, Ahri often fishing, and we even saw Roma trying to make a move down towards bot lane, but BDD is the one who finds the perfect timing and is able to pick up this kill in the Rumble.
I see what you mean there about perfect timing, because Perfect was there in the top lane, and it was his timing to go up and assist Perfect. Thus, perfect timing. That's beautiful.
You know what that is? That's perfect casting.
Oh, perfect casting indeed, Aux. That's the top lane. And you. All right, let's have a look at it again. The perfect casting of the perfect timing from BDD.
Yeah, I mean, casting just knows he's dead. As a fact, Perfect gets behind him and even like bumps him back a little bit. He was dead. So doesn't mean anything apart from trying to clear the wave out, uses Equalizer, saves his flash. And in terms of his lane matchup, doesn't really make that much of a difference, but giving gold over to BDD is going to feel BADD.
Yes, I think that is certainly not a good time. As Teddy just seeing where Jiwoo and Effort are going. And the Bros really struggling to find some momentum. I think it's the tempo vibes that they've just not been able to claim. I think they're what the Bro tax really pays for.
Yes, I was going to say, we can always find a culprit, and it is Bro tax.
Yeah.
If it's not sufficient, they are going to struggle.
Look at this. You can tell Cuzz to leave by leaving enough Brotax in the chat, and then he'll back away. Right now, I'm seeing that this doggo is still hungry for some mech yordle. As BDD does get this wave shoved in, and man, it really just feels like KT have more members on the map right now.
It's a good time to cross map. You look at Teddy, already picked up the bot lane roll quest. He has that static shiv completed.
Oh, Equalizer came down to try and catch the wave, really but just didn't even really hit.
But yeah, so Grub's in pocket. Jiwoo has 3 stacks left on the call, doesn't have an item completed, doesn't have his roll quest completed. This is a great time for a swap, and even though you do lose that first tower, not having to play into the Kalista with the static shiv is a definite boon. So second dragon does get picked up from Bro. They are continuing the pace on those. But I think KT making the right reads in this game in terms of where they want to be.
Yeah. Still, the Bros are able to put themselves together a bit of an advantage, and it's another Infernal Soul, with the Bros now having a couple picked up already. There's some angles here, but I'm not going to trust anything until we see our first team fight. And KT were team fighting beautifully in game number 1. If that continues with a composition like this, could be very, very difficult for the Bros unless the Bros have put the time and effort into figuring out how this comp is going to work. And it's about now that they're starting to get very, very powerful as the Ram just going to try and clear out this wave. Teddy just bouncing on over towards Perfect here. Nice knock up
Yeah, good work there.
there.
It's such a satisfying noise when he just briddles all of the minions and you just hear that noise constantly.
What is the most satisfying noise in League of Legends?
Heartsteel.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I still feel like it's probably Jax hitting a turret.
That's pretty good too. But just Heartsteel so much when you hear it like ticking up and then you get the big... Oh, it's beautiful. One item.
You have been a bit of a Heartsteel enjoyer for many, many years, have you not?
Yeah. I remember when it first came out and before it got nerfed in ARAM, and obviously that was before ARAM Mayhem, and it just ran every game. Everyone had one. You'd have like 3,000 stacks. A better time.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Maybe Heartsteel will make its way over to Classic soon in its unnerfed form.
That's the thing. Are we just adding more items along in Classic?
You just basically find anything that was ever broken at some point, and you just put it in Classic. I think that's got to be the way to do it.
I think the point they add things like Goredrinker or Gale Force in a Classic, I'm like, okay, this is feeling like last week.
Yeah. If Gale Force makes it in, I'm gonna have a big problem with that. That's still a new item, even if it has been discontinued. Twin Shadows, though, that is definitely
Heartsteel come out after Gale Force?
I think it might have been a similar time. You might be right, though, actually.
Well, we get the Malignants coming in for Roma. Big spike for the Ahri. Definitely a lot of power there.
Yeah.
KT trying to set up on this mid tower, and it's only Teddy to defend, which is a bit uncomfortable. Support's moving in, but a lot of plates get taken down.
Cuzz is in a little bit of trouble here, but he will be able to take those plates off the table. And KT really making use of these 3 grubs. I feel like that has been certainly capitalized on here, you could say, by KT.
Yeah, I'd agree. Dragon in a minute 45, and it's third, potentially for Bro. Remember, KT were the ones who got Soul last game, and it was also an Infernal Soul. So thinking about how to approach this fight, I think a big factor is Roma with the Malignants. If you can get resets, a lot of power. What's really nice this game is that Perfect having the... what's it called again? K-Nikuken.
That's the one.
Huge value into Roma and casting. The only thing he has to really be concerned about is if Teddy starts free hitting him. So looks like we're getting started a little bit early before that Dragon's up as KT looked for this Herald.
Oh, Roma's roaming. Looking for a bit of an angle here. He's on a pretty good flank, but the scatter catches him. Has to get himself out of there. Great Charm is going to catch Cuzz as they just take the Rift Herald from under the noses of KT. And Perfect is just backing away. The Sentinel just gets thrown at Roma. But KT are not going to be able to continue this fight. And now the Bros have a Rift Herald to help them get this Dragon.
Really well played there by Roma. Even after he gets hit by the stun, able to disengage. The one concern, though, is his ult is now down. It's ticking fastly. He has level 11 already passed. He has Malignance. But they do need that ult available for the Dragon. And it's 30 seconds away. But it looks like the setup's not come through yet from KT. They went for resets. I think he's going to be fine on that account. And they kind of get away scot-free, but BDD is fishing.
Oh, if Roma dies, then that'll be worse than the ult being on cooldown.
I think he's okay, just the Merc treads. Even with the nerfs they caught recently, -5 magic resist, the shield plus the tenacity, just makes it a bit hard for BDD to really threaten an all in there. Now the contest comes in for mid-prio. TP in from both solo laners of KT, trying to respond and stop them from getting a chance to throw down the Herald mid. That is still in the pocket of GIDEON, and now it's KT with control of the area, and Bro who have to push in.
3 seconds on Roma's ulti as well. That Spirit Rush will be up and available now. As Slurkles come down, Namgung gets caught by the scatter. The Bros still in a lot of control. The Rift Herald going to come on through here, and now KT gonna have to come back and try and defend mid. As Perfect just trying to be that front line. It's working out so far, but he's just getting slammed into the walls over and over again. And look at this, their front line is a front line no more.
Yeah, remember, they TP'd Perfect into this fight, so he can't recall, heal up, and come back again. Teddy getting some good damage down there. And honestly, his pierces, the Qs, have been connecting on a good targets.
Oh, yeah.
He's chunking out Jiwoo before as well. Now, if we get the Ren stacked up on the Dragon, it's almost impossible to steal.
Well, now The ram is going to come through. There is that secured by Teddy. They take down the jungler, but he's already done his job. Equalizer, fantastic but perfect. Manages to flash his way out. Great scatter here from BDD as Casting gets the power unleashed upon him. Cuzz in a little bit of trouble, but there is Teddy with that bailout. Can he lock down Jiwoo? He does manage to get him, but he's eliminated immediately. And KT, they still have their main carry as BDD, he gets charmed. He is charming, but he's got Cuzz there with the daggers to take down the Ahri. And that's the ace for KT.
Bro get the dragon, but the target selection is so good from KT. GIDEON just doesn't get to play the game. He dashes forward to help secure the dragon. The CC from Perfect is laid. Vi is out to fight. And even though we get this massive combo of ults, Perfect is the one soaking the damage. And now there's a freedom to move forward. Casting with no heat is not a threat. This dive in into Wild Growth shuts down Teddy. And even though he trades his life with Jiwoo, also, one more moment. I think Roma auto-attacks the dog instead of the blast cone here.
Oh no, he does!
So he wasn't able to escape cone. Very unfortunate, but I think just beautiful execution from KT. The usage of Perfect's health bar as a resource, the setup on a GIDEON, the re-engage, Jiwoo's aggression. Even though he traded 1-for-1, he shut down Teddy, which was key in allowing them to push forward. And now, Roma may have 3 dragons, but it's not 4. And they're 2,500 gold down against a team with an Ornn and a Yunara Lulu.
Yeah, this is the problem. These ornaments are going to start coming in, and that is going to mean that that gold lead actually means a whole lot more than what we're seeing represented. And it's kind of crazy that Perfect went down so incredibly low, took so much abuse in that fight, didn't actually die, is ahead in farm, and ahead in money by just a little bit. And that's crazy because there's a first strike on Casting. The whole sort of point was to make money. And unfortunately, he hasn't been able to do so, sitting at 0-2-0 on this Rumble, yet to really find value here in this game.
I mean, that's the thing when you play Rumble into a tank. You need to get ahead of the curve. You need to get more items. You need to be ahead in gold. And then just be that super strong Rumble. The benefit you get is you're getting a free lane. You can farm first strike off. And then you come into this point of the game and you hopefully get 2 items and really strong. Instead, you're on par with the Ornn, but the Ornn has upgraded that Koenig return and has better economy items, cheap items that give a lot of power, and so you're just not going to feel as useful from this point onwards. The Ornn is going to continue to add value to KT for the rest of the game.
And speaking of value, BDD 3-0-3 now has his dash cannon and Blackfire Torch completed. And Cuzz actually in a bit of trouble here. Not actually going to press the untargetability button, does finally do so, but the Wild Growth comes in. Charm is fantastic, and Roma is able to shut down the jungler. This could be a big deal, as Baron did just come onto the map. It looks like the Bros are going to look for some more picks before they do anything else. The Equalizer goes down with Perfect dead. They might be able to find an angle, as the Ram is going to get called, but he is still going to get taken out. Another Chandelier on top. And the Bro pick machine has finally come online. Oh dear, that's a lot of damage onto GIDEON. Does get shielded up.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, BDD just does so much damage. There's a handshake from Namgung. I don't know whether anyone is brave enough to do anything about this. There was another scatter. It's fantastic. Jiwoo dives in, but immediately takes it down. The hostile takeover is so incredibly good. And that is going to be the ace because Cuzz has only just respawned.
Beautiful play from Bro, just pick after pick, and then an overstep from KT cost them. They disrespect Namgung, and he makes them pay for it now. Looking for the Baron, the TP comes in from the Ahri just to zone Cuzz away. Soul is nearly up as well. They can reset off this Baron and set up for that. A devastating mistake for KT.
Absolutely incredible stuff for the Bros, though, being able to find it right on the tail end of this mid-game. And I almost said a trademarked comment as well, as it was a damn well hostile takeover. This was just a great series of picks from the Bros.
I feel like when you're playing picks like Naafiri or Ornn, Ornn's very tanky, has a dash, Naafiri very mobile. You have this presumed sense of safety. It's kind of like we've seen a lot of our Ezreals dying around mid lane. And I think they just disrespect the opponents. The pick potential, the chase down potential for this comp is extreme. Able to get those 2 kills, and then this is the big turning point. They try and commit on the GIDEON, he just gets out. Teddy steps up, knows he has the safety of the Renata. There's even this polymorph stun that looked like it could doom them, but the bailout's there. We see the Vi come back in, GIDEON choosing the perfect moment to punish, and Namgung's hostile takeover finds everything it needs now, though. The setup is here for this Soul. KT trying to push in and get control. And GIDEON hanging around the edge. Feels like they're being pushed off a little bit. Banana Brush Control going over to Bro, and it's them with the gold lead now.
Hostile Takeover is not quite available just yet. Namgung still waiting for it. I think KT well aware. They have all of their ultimates at the ready. All of their flashes also up and available. Roma doesn't have his. Gideon doesn't have his. Teddy, thankfully, has his flash up, but not the barrier.
Okay,
See what the
Hostile
Bros can actually do here.
Takeover in 5, and Teddy's starting to stack the Rens on the Dragon. KT need to do something soon.
Let's see what they're actually going to go for here. Is Perfect trying to stay in that front line. There's a great scatter onto Roma, off to the side. There's the cease and desist. The equalizer goes down there as well, as Gideon this time is going to be able to make his way out. Jiwoo's just fighting somebody else as the Infernal Soul comes in for the Bros. Vault Breaker onto Perfect, and they'll take down the tank. And this time the Bros find the team fight they're looking for.
Oh, Gideon fishing, won't find more, but he was the superhero in that fight. Did he get a kill? No, didn't need to. But he shut down Jiwoo and stopped him from being able to do anything, just bought time, and then the back end, they clear up perfect, but the soul is secured. That's the main thing here.
Oh, and now Elder is on the map in 5.5 minutes.
So the ult comes out from perfect, and basically at the same time, Gideon flies in, grabs Jiwoo. Jiwoo has to flash away from the charm, and Gideon just leaves. He's like, look, we got the dragon low enough, we can get the soul and leave. He does find his way to pick up perfect on the back end. But the main thing was that he stopped the backline of KT from doing anything. He stopped Jiwoo from playing the game. BDD had to respond to the threat, and he's able to disengage again. It didn't matter that he didn't kill Jiwoo, that Roma wasn't able to finish him off. It bought time, they got the soul, and they got out.
Really nicely played by the Bros, and Jiwoo almost actually halved BDD's health bar with just that hostile takeover that came in. So really nicely played by the Bros. It split up the team fight completely, and now, with this Infernal Soul, Bros find themselves with a whole lot more power here in this game. It's going to be doing a lot of work, as well as the fact that they have a lot of ability to make use of it with a composition like this that just does so much damage just in general. And Infernal will help them have some more longevity here in this game.
Such an explosive composition, and they've been piloting it really well. It's Elder in 4 minutes 20. Baron in 2 minutes 30, big objectives that KT has to have in mind. And I just feel like they're not in that great of a position right now. The ornaments have started to come out, but not that many so far. Jiwoo's items looking a bit dismal. You have the core, but not the IE, the last Whisper item. Okay, IE picked up now, but still lacking that extra pen, whereas Teddy is able to invest in tankiness. He's doing enough damage. The buff Terminus as well, that was made stronger not too long ago in his hands.
He's also almost got that Jack Shows done as well. So like you were saying, extra tankiness.
I mean, when you have a Renata with you as well, that tankiness makes you so hard to deal with. And we've seen that when he just starts stacking up the Rens, it doesn't even take that many auto attacks before he's able to get the reset and bring him back after being taken down in the bailout.
Yeah, not to mention if you fight anywhere near a minion wave, it can just be really, really difficult to deal with this Kalista.
And it's actually so annoying when a Kalista is sieging now with a static Shiv.
Yeah,
it just chains through the minions. You end up getting stacks onto you as well. And so Teddy can rend and even just damage you off the back of that. It's pretty obnoxious.
Well, more of Malmortius even completed here for Gideon. Decides not to go for a third item GA. Just wants that extra magic resistance. Understands that Jiwoo is mainly going to be held up in the sky by him during this game.
Yeah,
just needs to not die to BDD.
Doesn't want to get ulted and just removed from the game by BDD, which is kind of understandable.
Yep, I would also not like that to happen to me. As Teddy taking out these waves, taking out these wards, control of the Baron Pit is what the Bros want. Their turn is so scary as well. If they ever do get the control that they're looking for, which they have now.
It is the Huni Baron, so a little scary.
Dangerous Baron.
But I think it kind of testament to the level of control they're trying to establish over this area. Completely shutting out the vision from KT right now. The closest ward to the Baron is that control ward we can see on the left of the screen now.
Oh man, that is quite a ways away from
a bit more than a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah, I would say so. Cuzz is now going to go into the scary dark.
The thing is, Cuzz has a lot of tools to outplay Engage, but we've seen before, even if you have those tools, if you face check and get the CC layered, you will just die. He is pretty squishy.
Yeah, and if you avoid one of them, there's so many others that are coming after you, right? Like Vault Breaker, Cease and Desist, Charm, even the Fate's Call. is just so incredibly scary. And the handshake as well can be absolutely devastating. Namgung has been playing a great game so far. 100% kill contribution on this Renata. And the Bros now set up once again. Perfect, wanting to face check, but it's getting more and more difficult as great charm connects onto Cuzz. Does go up into the sky eventually, but he's basically out of the fight before it's even begun.
And there's no camps actually nearby from sustain up. The Fury can heal up really quickly if Raptors or Wolves are up, but they're down, so he has to actually go for the recall.
Oh, there are pings actually onto where GIDEON is here, looking for a bit of a wraparound as BDD just takes a cheeky little Syndra.
I think one problem though is that BDD can chunk GIDEON, but with a Maw, not able to one-shot him. But if the rest of the move there, it's kind of going to give away that they know where GIDEON is.
Well, GIDEON has been kind of scoped out though, as the Scry's Orb does come on down. Gives KT the information that this hasn't been started yet.
GIDEON's still trying to fish from this position.
Oh, if he actually starts off these Raptors, it could be pretty scary. As the Bros just continue to wipe out these waves and then go back to the Fog of War. They do not want to start this Baron, though.
Yeah, I think it's fine. You know, it's the Huni Baron, it's Dangerous Baron. You also have some item buys to come in before that Elder spawns. Teddy's close to Jack Show. Roma's close to Void Staff. GIDEON, I think, could pick up Merc Treads on a back. So if you get a chance to recall and reset before the Elder, it makes sense. But GIDEON's actually sticking around here.
He keeps getting stopped by BDD. I think he Scry's bloomed him, and now
if he gets
KT on the Elder. This is so dangerous, like you're saying. Cuzz not going to quite find the daggers, and GIDEON will be able to make his way out, but that was almost game-losing.
Yeah, able to navigate away. Teddy got the Jack Show and a red pot. This is a big buy. He is so strong.
Well, now the Elder even getting involved here is Perfect taking some damage, I think. But not entirely sure. His health bar is pretty large.
And pressure's going to be on KT, because again, if Teddy stacks up the Rend on the Dragon, this has been fatal for KT in 2 Dragon fights before. They can't let him do it again, because Elder would just be a game ender.
Well, look at all the sticks that are already in this Elder, as Teddy just happily tanking it up. Casting is on a ward. I've seen this fight before. Casting dashes in, finds the charm. The Wild Growth is there under Jiwoo though, but look at the AoE. They all just explode, and down they will go. The Bros finding such a huge fight. They'll be able to get the Elder here off the back end as well. And we have an even series, ladies and gentlemen, as KT cannot get it done in game 2, and the Bros will make it a best of 3.
They find the engage, they find Jiwoo, and the damage is there, bro. Get the momentum and get a 5-0 ace. Game 1 looked pretty one-sided, but bro, answer back and take us to the 3rd game of the series.
Oh, that is what we were looking for. Almost a guarantee that will make it to maximum games here in this series. Gorgeously played here by the Bros, and that is your Bro Tax at work, ladies and gentlemen. We called you out for it earlier on. You heard the call, and there is definitely enough in the coffers now to bring us to those 5 games.
I think especially when game 1 had Bro making some smart moves, but was